Welcome to this webinar. It is great to have you here. It is going to be an amazing webinar today. We have one of the most knowledgeable Excel teachers out there, an Excel Microsoft certified trainer. His name is Kyle Pugh, and he is standing by to teach you one of the most popular Excel features. It is formulas and functions. It is a feature that you must know in order to increase your Excel skill level, and it is probably one of the most asked webinars that I get asked, and I've been asked over the last few years. Hey John, when are you going to create a formulas webinar about VLOOKUPs, about ifs? When are you going to create that? Well, the day has arrived. Today you're going to learn that. Now, before we get started, a couple of housekeeping rules. I've made a note here. First of all, make sure that you close any other web browsers that you have open, like Facebook. You shouldn't be Facebook because you're at work right now, or any other accounting ERP systems like Oracle or PeopleSoft or MyOp, whatever accounting software you have open. Close that, because that drains a lot of the bandwidth of your computer, and it's going to slow down and maybe freeze the webinar. So close those now, and that will help with the webinar experience. If the webinar freezes during the webinar, whilst you're inside, for example, 20 minutes into it or 30 minutes into it, if it ever freezes, just go back to your link in your email. Click on that, and that will open a new browser. It'll refresh it, and you're going to go straight back to where you left off. So you're not going to miss out on anything, okay? Now, the next thing is to close your door. Close any distractions that you may have. So block this hour out. Go now, close the door, put a, do not enter here. I'm learning Excel. It's more important than anything else that's happening right now in the world. So do that. Put it out there, because this is going to be an intense webinar. You're going to learn a lot of stuff, and you're going to be concentrating. So make sure you do that. The other thing is, if you think that Kyle is going too fast, I may be going fast now, is because, hey, I'm nervous and I've got a lot of things to go through. If you think Kyle is going too fast, then that's okay. Just step back, because this webinar is being recorded. And then after the webinar, we're going to send you an email with the recording and also the finished workbook, so you can review it at the end, okay? Because you're not going to get a lot of the stuff today. I never learned formulas within an hour. It took me a bit of time. So if you ever get stuck during the webinar, just sit back and just enjoy the webinar, and then you can always go back after and review it afterwards. Now, the other thing is that you're going to receive the finished workbook. So we're going to email that to you as well, so you can go practice. The best thing is to go back and practice. Practice, make mistakes. Practice, make mistakes. Practice, practice, practice. You're going to increase your Excel skill level. Okay. Now, next one I need to ask you is, there's a chat box there. If you ever have any questions throughout the webinar, put it in there. So, hey, I don't understand this. I'm going to be manning the chat boxes, and I'm going to try my best to help you out. There's a lot of people in the webinar now. If I don't have any time, then after the webinar is over, I'm going to personally email you. So put in any questions you have in the chat box. I'm going to receive that question along with your email that you signed up with, and I will personally email it to you there. Now, we need to know, number one, what is your favorite Excel formula? And also, what Excel formula do you want to learn more about? Put it in the chat box now. Put in a favorite and your formula, and what you want to learn about, and the formula that you want to learn about. That just gives us feedback, so we can create more webinars or more tutorials on formulas that you're struggling with and you need teaching with. Okay, we're ready to get started. Wait, after the webinar is over, after Kyle finishes his teachings, there is a special bonus. So I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'll give you a tip. I'm wearing it right now. Okay, let's get started. I will pass you over to Kyle Pugh, and he's going to teach you the most fabulous Excel feature out there, Excel formulas, and it is one that you must know. So let's get straight into it. When Kyle finishes, I'll get back there with my special bonus, and just wait for it. It's going to be great.
Hello and welcome to this Microsoft Excel Formulas webinar. My name is Kyle Pugh. I want to thank John first off for allowing me to participate in this webinar and to meet with you all and go over some of the common and popular Microsoft Excel functions. I'm going to bring up a list of topics here that we're going to get into, and then we're going to jump into an Excel file and we're going to go through a couple of examples of these formulas, these functions, as well as a few other tools. So take a look. Let me change my screen here. We've got a few different topics that we're going to get into. First, we're going to talk about a handful of different functions. And these are perhaps some of my favorite functions that are built into Excel. The first one, which is really my absolute favorite, we're going to talk about the if function. Now, the if function, if you haven't used it before, is going to allow you to set up a condition and then have Excel evaluate that condition and then perform one of two tasks based on whether the condition is true or whether it's false. If this is true, do this. If it's not, then do something else. Again, I love this function because you set it up once and it does all the work for you. Now, the next one that we're going to take a look at kind of builds on this idea of a condition using the if. We're going to sum if something's true. I want to be able to grab a range of cells and I want to be able to sum up a value, but I only want to be able to sum it up if something is true. This is your SUMIF. Now, there's also a very closely related function here called SUMIFs, where you can set up multiple criteria. I want to sum if these things are true. Now, we're going to switch gears and then we're going to take a look at the VLOOKUP. This is another one of my favorite functions inside of Excel, very common, more advanced type function, but you want to look up information. I have a large list of data. I want to be able to look up information within that list. Well, rather than manually digging through line items one at a time, get the VLOOKUP to do it for you. Now, the VLOOKUP, I mentioned it is one of my favorite functions inside of Excel, but it does have some limitations. There's some kind of drawbacks to the function. So I'm also going to introduce you to two functions that will perform a very similar operation that the VLOOKUP does, but it doesn't have the limitations that the VLOOKUP has. And these are the index and match functions. Another one of my favorite functions, or pairing of functions inside of Excel. Then, after we get done talking about these functions, I'm going to take you through little tips of evaluating or auditing your functions. And we'll go through a few techniques there. So let's go ahead and jump in and start to master these techniques and these built-in operations inside of Excel. Now, I'm going to switch my screen here a little bit. There we go. Now, I've got this exercise file that is going to be available to you to download. This way you can get back in and practice the techniques that we're going to be discussing here. This is going to be the exact same file that I'm going to use during this webinar, and you're going to have an option to be able to download it and go through all the exercises on your own as well. Okay, so watch for that link. So the first one that we're going to take a look at here is the if function. Again, one of my favorite functions inside of Excel. So let's jump in and take a look at this one. So I'm looking at a worksheet called if function here. Now within that worksheet, I've got a simple little table just of some salespeople and some weekly sales amounts for those sales individuals. We've got some totals there along the bottom, just their weekly totals. And we've got the totals for each salesperson, as well as a couple of the grand totals for all of the sales across all weeks and all salespeople. Now over on the right, this is where we're going to focus. We've got a monthly goal. We want to know whether or not each salesperson has met the monthly goal. Well, we've got their total. We got their monthly total right here, right? For example, H. James, each of the week's values for H. James has matched up to 36,245. Now I want to be able to compare that value right there against the monthly goal and decide whether or not H. James or K. Dunn or L. Carey or R. Smith or D. O'Brien has met the goal or exceeded the goal. Okay? So in steps the if. Now granted, we only got 5 records up there. So it wouldn't be too hard to sit here and say, hey, 36,000, yeah, that's greater than 34. 31, nope, sorry, didn't make it. 33, nope, didn't make it. 39, yep, you made it. And 35, 359, yep, you made it. So 5 records, right? I can sit there and say, yes, no, no, yes, yes, right? What if you had hundreds, if not thousands of records or hundreds of thousands of records? I don't want to do that manually. Let's get Excel to do it for you. So once again, in steps the if. So I'm going to hop into H5. So H5 to H9, this is where I want it to say yes or no as far as that condition. So I'm going to go into H5. I'm going to start to type in the if. So I'm going to say equals if. I'm going to open up a parentheses here. And nice thing, ever since I want to say like the 2003 edition of Excel, you got this nice little screen tip that pops up on the screen. This is your if function, and it's got 3 little things that it wants from you. In order for it to perform its job, we need to provide it with 3 bits of information. So to help us out here a little bit, rather than typing it manually, especially if you're just starting out with the if function, I'm going to go up to the little FX button, just up here on my formula bar. I'm going to give that a click, and this will open up the argument window for my if. I got my function arguments, and I'm looking at the if function. So again, it's got 3 little things that it wants from us. First, the test. What is it evaluating? Well, in our case, I'm looking at H. James, right? I'm going to say F5, and I want to know whether or not that is greater than or equal to I2. There's our test. Nothing big. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it a value of true, so it's going to test for that. Is F5 greater than or equal to I2? Now, the test is going to return one of 2 things. You can see here that it's returning true, because yeah, 36,245 is greater than 34,000. Then I'm going to tell it, well, what to do if it's true. I'm going to say yes. And then I get to go down to the next argument and tell it what to do if that formula or that test happened to return a false. So I'm going to say no. You didn't make it. Now this could be whatever you want. It could be goal, goal met, no goal. It could be another formula. Maybe you want to say, hey, if somebody met the goal, then I'll give you 10% of your total sales. If you didn't meet the goal, then you get a big fat 0, or maybe you get 1%, whatever it might be. So here's mine. Logical test. If F5 is greater than or equal to I2, we'll give them a true, a yes. If it's not, then we'll give them a no. And that's it. I'm going to hit OK. And H. James, of course, we saw that earlier. H. James met the goal, exceeded the goal. 34,000 compared to the 36,245. We got our yes. Now, that's the if. I love it. And the reason why I love it is you set it up once and you're done, right? You've got the condition in there, something we've all done. I know, I can guarantee you've all gone through data before and compared it against something else. Maybe you got dates that you're trying to evaluate or numeric values like this, or maybe it's text. I want to know if these text values equal these text values. Whatever your condition is, we've all done it. Get the if to do it for you. Now, I need to get this to happen for K. Dunn, L. Carey, R. Smith, and D. O'Brien. Now, inside of Excel, we all use a little autofill handle, that little box in the corner there. We grab that, we drag it down. This is just going to copy the formula. I let go, and it's copied my formula. Ooh, wait a minute. I got a bunch of yeses in there. First one, that was correct, right? Look back at the formula. F5 greater than or equal to I2, which is the total there, the monthly goal. And then we tell it, well, if that's true, then give them a yes. If not, then we give them a no. So I copy that formula down, and I've got a bunch of yeses. The next person, the very next person, K. Dunn, should not have made it. Well, let's look at the formula for K. Dunn. Remember, I just copied that formula down. I look up there, okay, F6. F6 is K. Dunn's total. That looks good. I3, wait a minute. I3 is one cell down, that's not what I want to compare against. You ever see this happen? You ever copy a formula and expect one thing and it gives you something completely different? Well, here, it's moved one cell down too far. If I go down to the next personnel carry, now it's I4. It's not sounding good. I'm going to delete these formulas. Just get rid of those copies. I'm going to go back to the original one, and I need to make a change here. I need to take this I2, and I need to make it absolute. Now, this is a whole nother discussion, and we could spend a whole nother webinar getting into relative versus absolute references. But the point is, when we copy the formula, I never want I2 to change. It should always be I2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click up there. Right before the I, I'm going to put a $sign. And right before the 2, I'm going to put another $sign. So $I, $2, that makes it an absolute reference. I'm going to hit my enter key. Same results. H change, still got a yes. But I copy that down. And there we go. Yes, no, no, those two did not make it. And then yes, yes. Looking good. Your if function. You define a condition. They call it a logical test, something for it to evaluate. And then based on how it evaluated, whether it was true or false, you tell it what to do. Again, one of my favorite functions inside of Excel. So there's the first one. Hope you like that one. Okay, any questions you got, jump into the message board, the QA, the little question box there, ask your questions. We want to get to those questions as well. So, all right, let's take a look at the next function. This is the SUMIF function. Now, when let's see, I think it was the 2007 version. SUMIF has been around for a while inside of Excel, but the 2007 or 2010, right around there, one of those versions, they came out with another one called SUMIFs. Okay, very, very similar. So I'm going to talk about SUMIF, and then I'll give you a big old tip about the SUMIFs as well. So I'm going to talk about SUMIF. All right, so the idea here is I've got two little tables. I've got this little list here, records that consist of a month, a store number, a SKU, a sales amount, and units sold. And then I've got this little table over on the right where I want to get some totals. I want to get total sales or maybe total units, but I don't want to get all. I don't want to sum up all sales. I want to get a sum of all sales where the store number equals a specific number. So this is where the SUMIF comes into play. You're familiar with summing, probably use the auto sum like all the time. We just took a look at the if. Now I want to combine the two. Sum if something is true. Take a look. I'm going to do the total sales. I'll do that one in front of you. And then when you get an opportunity to download this file, jump in and do the total units and do it for the SKU as well. So I'm going to jump to total sales. And I'm going to say equals SUMIF. There it is. I'll give that a double click. All right. Now up comes a little screen tip. Again, just like the if, it's got three little things that it needs us to fill out. So to help me out, I'm going to go back to the little FX button. Here we have it. So first part is your range. So each of these, range, criteria, sum range, especially if you're just starting out within these functions, we need a little bit of definition. What do these things expect of me? What do they need? Well, if I go to the range, it tells me down below, the range is the range of cells you want evaluated. Remember the if? If something, we need to evaluate something, right? Well, here, in order for it to sum, we need to evaluate something. So here I'm going to say range. I want to get a total sum if the store number is equal to 3,000. So here, I want to evaluate the store column. So for range, I'm going to go grab B3 down to B272, 272. All right, that's the range that I want to evaluate. My criteria, well, what am I trying to look for inside that range? I want to find 3,000. 1, 2, 3. Now you can set up in your SUMIF function, you can set up criteria a couple different ways. You can type it in just like I did there. That's great, that's going to work. Or to make it a little more dynamic, I can reference a cell that contains that value. In this case, cell G3 contains the 3,000. That looks good. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to show you a bonus to locating a cell, referencing a cell, as opposed to typing it in manually, 3000. All right, now the sum range, we've got what we want, the range that we want to evaluate. What are we looking for? In this case, 3000. And then the range that we actually want to sum. In this case, I'm looking for total sales. So I'm going to grab D3 down to D272. And that's it. That's it. What are we evaluating? What are we looking for inside that range? And which range do you want to sum? I'm going to hit OK. And there's my total. $491,064. This is total sales, all the sales inside the D column, but only where the store number is equal to 3000. Again, another one of my favorite functions. We're combining two common functions. Sum, which is absolutely very, very common inside of Excel, and then the if. Sum if a condition is true. Now, I mentioned I want to show you a little bonus here because inside of our formula, our criteria, we referenced a cell, in this case, G3. Here we got the 3000. Well, you know what? Maybe I'm not looking for SKU number or store number 3000 anymore. I want store number 2000. So I click into G3. I'm going to type in 2000. 1, 2, 3. There's my total right now, 491,000, right? I hit my enter key. 495. I'm now getting the total sales for that store. I think that's pretty neat. Let's try another one. Let's say 250. Very dynamic. One formula, referencing a cell, summing up if a specific condition is met, is true. Make sure you're trying these out. Again, you download the file, try out each of these exercises, really master these techniques. They're going to save you loads of time. Now, once again, if you got any questions, jump into the little QA section, little question box there, and ask your questions. And we want to make sure we get to everybody. If we can't get to you right away, we will, as soon as this webinar is over with, we will be sending out emails in response to your questions as well. So, all right, let's take a look at the next one. This is your VLOOKUP. Now, this is another pretty common function. Now, it's a little more advanced. There's a bit more going on inside of it, but it's a very popular one. And it seems like every class I teach on Excel, when I go do live trainings, people are asking me, hey, VLOOKUP, I've heard about VLOOKUP. How do you do it, right? Well, let's take a look at it. So first off, what's the idea of a VLOOKUP? Well, imagine this. Somebody's giving you a list of, in this case, employee IDs, but some list of IDs, employee IDs, product IDs, invoice numbers, whatever. They've given you a list of some IDs. Now, based on those IDs, I want to be able to fill out the rest of this table. I want to know for employee number 1054, what's their last name? What's their first name? What's their department? What's their pay rate? And so on. I need that information, but right now, all I've got is a bunch of IDs. Well, located someplace else, in this case, the very next sheet, we've got all that information. We've got the IDs, but then we've also got their last name, first names, departments, pay rates. I think that was what the other sheet was looking for, right? We've got all that information right there. Now, prior to the VLOOKUP, which is what we're digging into here, you've probably done this. You've probably got some list of some IDs or account numbers or invoice numbers or whatever, and you've got a list where all the information is contained, and you're sitting there manually going through and comparing the two lists. And then when you find what you're looking for, maybe you're copying and pasting data between the worksheets. Well, this is what the VLOOKUP does for you. The VLOOKUP will take a known value, such as an ID, in this case the employee IDs. It'll say, hey, I found the ID. Where am I going to go look for this? You're looking for the last name. Where am I going to find the ID that's associated to that last name so I can return that user's last name? Well, we say, here's 1054. Go over to this list, search vertically. It's called the VLOOKUP, vertical lookup. Search vertically through the first column. Once you find it, 1054, I want you to return something from that row. That's what the VLOOKUP does for you. Take a look. So I'm going to do it for last name. But I'm going to encourage you, once you download this file, go do first name, go do department, go do pay rate. Try them all out. So I'm going to go into last name here, and I'm going to say equals VLOOKUP. There it is. Now it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of information that it needs from us in order to perform this task and find the last name. Well, to help me out once again, I'm going to go to the little FX button. There we go. So first thing, it needs what's called the lookup value. Ultimately, I want to find the last name, but in order to find the last name, it needs to look up the ID that's associated to that last name. So for our lookup value, I'm going to give it A3. So A3 is what it's going to look for in order to find the last name. Now table array, Excel says, great, I'm looking for employee number 1054. Where am I going to find it? So it wants the table array. So I'm going to go to the master employee list, make sure I'm clicked into table array, master employee list, and I'm going to grab this entire list here from A2 down to I38. Now you could include row 1, not going to hurt anything, but we don't need it. So I'm just going to grab the actual data, the records. Now the next option here, call index num, we told it, hey, I want you to look for what's inside of A3, which is 1054. Where am I going to find it? Well, the table array is on the master employee list inside of cells A2 to I38. Now Excel says, okay, great. Grabs 1054, jumps over to this list, looks vertically through the first column of the list, finds it, and then it says, call index num. It wants to know which column to return back to us. In this case, column number 1 is employee ID. Column number 2 is the last name. For ours, I'm going to put a number 2 in there because I want the second column's value of that table. All right, now the last thing is called range lookup. In this case, I'm going to put false. There's 2 options. You got false or you got true, or you could leave it blank. But blank and true mean the same thing. In this case, false means I want to find the exact match. This ID, this lookup value that you're looking for, Excel, I want you to find the exact match. And that's what false means. You can look down below. Range lookup, the logical value, meaning true or false. To find the closest match in the first column sorted ascending order, you either make it true or you leave it blank, you omit it. If you want to find the exact match, I want to find 1054 or 1056. You have to find those. Then you make it false. And that's it. I'll hit OK. And there's my Smith. Now I'm going to do one more thing. We talked about making absolute values here. I'm going to take that list that we did earlier, number A2 to I38, and I'm going to make that absolute because I want to copy this down. So with that highlighted, A2 to I38, I'm going to tap the F4 key. There's a little tip for you. F4 makes it an absolute reference. So I'll hit my enter key again, and I'm going to copy that down. And there's our VLOOKUP. Based on some list of numbers, some IDs, some account numbers, in this case employee IDs, we could fill out the rest of this table using a VLOOKUP. Now, again, the exercise file is available for you. I want to make sure you go through and get some practice. So go get in there, do the first name, do the department, do the pay rate. And if you got questions, jump into the little question box, ask your questions in there. Super powerful function. Okay? And again, another very popular one. Lots of people want to know about that. Very good, very, very, very good skill to have inside your arsenal of skills that make up Excel. So, all right, now I mentioned that the VLOOKUP, it's great. It is very, very popular, but it does have some limitations. The VLOOKUP, it's looking up information, but it relies on a specific setup of the data. So for ours, remember 1054 employee ID or 1056, we told it, I want to look for that number. But when you get over to the list, Excel expects that number to be inside the first column. What if employee ID was in the middle someplace, right? And then the list started with last name. Well, the VLOOKUP, you could still do it, but then your list or your table array, remember one of the arguments of the function, would have to start someplace in the middle, and it wouldn't be able to look to the left. VLOOKUPs can only start from the column that you're searching and move to the right. If employee ID was someplace in the middle, you could start from the middle and then move to the right. You would never be able to go to the left. That's one of the limitations of a VLOOKUP. Another one is they're pretty big resource hogs, processor intensive, meaning that if you've got a large Excel document with lots of VLOOKUPs, it's going to be a slow document. It may even take a while to open up because all the VLOOKUPs have to perform all their tasks and go through and search the data. And just the way the VLOOKUP is built, it takes a bit of time. Now, if you've only got a handful of VLOOKUP functions, no big deal. But if you've got hundreds of rows of data that you're looking up, that can take some time. So again, some limitations to the VLOOKUP. Well, there's these limitations. How can we overcome these limitations? This is going to bring us into the next couple of functions that we're going to take a look at. And these are the index and match. Another one, or pairing, of functions that are perhaps one of my favorite ones inside of Excel. So first, before we really get in and overcome the limitation of the VLOOKUP, let's first understand what the index and the match function do for you. They are two separate functions. Now, for the most part, you probably won't use index and match all by themselves, but more commonly, you'll use them together. So take a look. First, let's see what they're all about individually. So I've got inside the same exercise file, still looking at the VLOOKUP tab, I've got this index and matched little boxes. What is that? G3 and H3. So first, let's take a look at the index. So like I said, probably won't use this all by itself, and you're going to see why. So I've got equals index. I'm going to open up my parentheses, and I'm going to go hit the little FX button. All right. Now, the index function is a bit unique in the fact that it has two different ways that you can use it. Here, when I hit the little FX button, it's asking me, do you want to use it as an array, row num, or column num? Or do you want to use it as a reference, row num, column num, area num? Well, I'm going to say 90% of the time, perhaps even larger, you're going to use the first option. And that's what we're going to use here. So array, row num, column num, I'm going to hit OK. All right, it's got three little things, array, row num, column num. But what does this do? Well, the index function returns a value or a reference of a cell at the intersection of a particular row and column in a given range. What do you think? Well, let's break that down a little bit. What it's essentially saying is, let's say this is an array or a collection of data from A2 down to E18. This block of data right here is an array or a collection of data. It's a collection of data. The index function will return a value within that collection of data based on the intersection of a row and a column. Take a look. I'm going to break it down even smaller. I'm going to say my array or my collection of data is this section right here from A3 to A19. That's my array or collection of data. Over here on the right, you can even see all that data right there. 1054, there it is. 1056, there it is, and so on and so on. Now, from that collection of data, from that array, I want to know what's at a specific location. In this case, at a specific row number within there. So I'm going to tell it row num, I want to know what's at the fourth position of that collection of data. So I'm going to put in a row number here. I'm going to say row number 4. Now the next one, column num, it's optional. I'm not going to use it here because my original array or collection of data is a single column. But if I had multiple columns in there, then I could tell it, I want to find what's at a specific row number and a specific column number. And then we would get that cross section, right, where the two met, and it would tell us what's located at that spot. So I'm just going to use the row number. I'm going to hit OK. And it tells me from that collection of data, remember A3 to A18, what's at the fourth position? 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1075. That's your index function. Taking a collection of data, an array of data, which is maybe a single column, maybe a single row, maybe in multiple columns, multiple rows, and tell me what's at a specific position within that data. Now, once again, it's probably not one that you're going to use all by itself. I mean, can you think of any reason why you'd say, okay, inside that block of data, give me what's at position 10? Maybe if you're doing some type of just blind hat type of statistics, right? I'm going to reach in there, give me what's at position 4, right? Okay, great. But probably not. Maybe you're going to use it in combination of other functions. Now, we're going to see that, but before we do that, let's take a look at the match. So here, I'm inside of H3. I'm going to say equals match. I'm going to open up a parentheses. Now the match function, let's get some help. I'm going to go to a little FX button. So here's the match. Looks pretty similar. You got 3 things that it wants from you. Now what does the match do? And the match returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. Now once again, that's a whole lot of words going on in there. Now remember, the index had an array, a collection of data. In our case, it was this column right here. We told it, here's the column of data. Tell me what you find at position 4. That's what we told it earlier. The match, very similar. We're going to tell it, hey, go search an array of data. It has a lookup array. Where's your collection of data? But we're going to give it a specific value to look for inside of that array. Then the match function will return the position of that value within that array. Take a look. Let's say for my lookup, I'm going to tell it to look for this value here, which was G3, which was at 1075. Now my lookup array, we get to tell where to search for this. So I'm going to tell it to search for that value inside of A3 to A19. So look for the contents of G3 inside of this collection, inside of this lookup array. Now the match type. This is similar to the VLOOKUP that we saw earlier. This is whether or not you want to find the closest thing or the exact match. For the match, I'm going to put a 0 in there, meaning we want to find the exact match. That's it. What are you looking for? Where are you looking for it? Do you want to find the exact match? Now when I hit OK, it's going to tell me what position that value was found at. There it is. Number 4. Remember 1075? Inside of this collection of data right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was at the 4th position. We saw that earlier. Now again, that's the match. Look up a value from a collection of data. Tell me where you find it. Just like the index, it's perhaps one that you're not going to use all by itself. You could once again, but more likely than not, you're going to use it in combination of other functions. And that's what we're going to see here. Index and match, using these 2 functions together, nested together, will overcome the limitations of the VLOOKUP, but perform a very similar task to the VLOOKUP. Take a look. So index match. Let's say I want to find the first names. I want to fill out all these first names, but I want to do it over here using the index and match functions. So I'm going to jump into J3. I'm going to say equals index. I'm going to open up a parentheses. Now, ultimately, once again, we want to find the first names. So let's go to our little FX button. We're going to use the first one there, so I'm going to hit OK. All right, the array. Now, once again, ultimately, we want to return the first names. So for our array, I'm going to go to the master employee list, and I'm going to grab the first name column, C2 to C38. Now I'm going to go ahead and lock that down. I'm going to make that an absolute. Remember the F4 key? Now row num. Remember using this earlier? We did that inside the index right here, G3. We just dropped in a number. I said like number 4. So now it says, okay, I'm going to go look through that array. I'm going to return what's in the 4th position. Well, that's really not what I want. I don't want to just give it a number because I'm looking for a specific first name. in this case, I'm looking for the first name of employee number 1054. Well, what row, back here inside the master employee list, what row is employee 1054 located at? I don't know. I can go over there and look for 1054 and say, oh, it's in row 1 or it's in row 5 or row 10 or whatever. But once again, I don't want to do that. I want to get Excel to do that for me. So here, inside the row num, we're going to bring in the match function. Remember the match, it looked for a value inside of an array or a collection of data, and it returned its position back to us. So here for match, I'm going to open up my parentheses there. Got my row num match, open parentheses. To help me out, I'm going to go click on match here. This takes me to the match arguments. So lookup value. Remember, I'm looking for the first name, but in order to find that first name, we need to look for the ID. So I'm going to give it A3. The lookup array, where do we want to search for this? Well, it's back on the master employee list. And I'm going to grab the A column here from A2 to A38, and I'll lock that down. Let's make that absolute. All right. And then the match type, I want to find the exact match. So I put a 0 in here. All right. That's looking pretty good. We're going to look for A3. We're going to find it inside the A column of the master employee list. And we're going to make it an exact match. All right. Now I need to finish off the index. If I go back to the index, it's actually all right. I'm not going to use the column num. I'm done. I'm going to hit OK. And look at it. There's Howard. Howard Smith, which was employee number 1054. Let's make sure. 1054, Smith Howard. There we go. If I go back, I can copy that down. Done. I've now overcome the limitations of a VLOOKUP, and it's much faster in processing using an index and match pairing. Right there. Get the same results that a VLOOKUP will do for you, but you overcome those limitations of the VLOOKUP. This column right here, employee num, could be anywhere inside this list. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to start at the beginning like a VLOOKUP. It could be in the middle someplace because it's two separate functions that are doing the work for you. So once again, download this file, try that out. That's a big one. Even later on, we're going to provide this webinar as a recorded webinar, and you can get in there and you can rewatch it as well and get some practice with that one. Definitely one I would recommend practicing a couple of times, a few times. Okay. All right, so there's a handful of functions. We've talked about the if function, the SUMIF, we've talked about the VLOOKUP, and now the index and match. Lots of things inside there. Practice, right? Now, I want to give you a few tips. I want to get in there and show off some little tools that you can use to help you audit and kind of go through your formulas, especially if you got errors. So we're going to take a look at a few things. We're going to take a look at the watch window. We're going to take a look at tracing formulas. And we're going to take a look at a little shortcut called the F9 shortcut to help you evaluate formulas. So get ready for those. All right, so I'm going to take a look at the watch window first. So I got another little tab here, the watch window. Now, it doesn't look like much, and it really isn't just for this example. I've got a header in there, December 2015 sales, and I've got a numeric value in there. Well, that numeric value is inside of B3. That thing references a cell in another worksheet. If function worksheet, cell F12. Well, if I go back to the if function worksheet, here's F12. It references that cell right there. Now imagine this. You're creating some report, maybe a dashboard, and you're referencing data from all sorts of different worksheets. Well, you've got a worksheet that's maybe 20 worksheets later inside of a workbook, and you're over here working on this worksheet, but you manipulate data here, it's affecting cells back on that other worksheet. So now I'm toggling back and forth between worksheets. I make an adjustment here, I go over to the other worksheet, and I take a look at what it did, and I'm going back and forth to see what's happening between these two worksheets that are connected. Well, The back and forth takes time. So inside of Excel, we have a feature called the watch window. The watch window is going to allow you to target a cell or multiple cells. Target some data, some cells inside of your Excel worksheets, and then keep an eye on it. You can always have that on your screen while you're working inside of other locations within the workbook. Take a look. I'm on the watch window worksheet. I'm going to select B3. I'm going to go to my formulas tab, and I'm going to turn on the watch window. All right, inside my watch window, don't have anything in there currently. I'm going to add a watch. All right, now I want to watch that cell. Watch window, cell B3. That's where I'm at. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. Here we have it. So it's telling me it's inside of this book. It's on this worksheet. It's this cell, and it's this value, 176,211. It even gives me the formula that makes up the reference inside that cell. Now I've got this little window open. It's always going to be there. Now if I go back to the if function worksheet, still there. And I can watch that cell right there. Now if I make some adjustments here, let's say I change some values. I go from 8,580 inside of C7. Let's go to 10,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. There I go. I've just updated that number there, which updated this number over here. Now it's 177,000. Well, let's change this one to 5,000. 1, 2, 3. And now it's dropped down to 173. So now I'm keeping track of a cell on a completely different worksheet. I can keep an eye on that. That's huge. You're not toggling back and forth between worksheets and trying to keep tabs on what's happening. If I adjust this, what happens over here? You just watch it. Then you can make your adjustments wherever you need to and watch what happens to that cell. Again, this is the watch window. I'm going to close that out. It's on your formulas tab. Underneath formula auditing, you've got your watch window command right there. Select the cell you want to watch, add the watch, go make your adjustments, and you can keep tabs. You can watch, keep an eye on that cell, on its value. There's one little tip for you, helping you to audit and keep track of your cells, and more importantly, your formulas. Now, let's show you another tip here. I'm going to find my next worksheet. I have the watch window there. I'm going to go to trace. All right, all about auditing formulas. This next one I'm going to show you here, this is especially important or a super cool tool if you're inheriting worksheets from others. That ever happened to you? You ever inherit work from other people in your office, coworkers, or maybe somebody emailed you a document? You have no clue what's going on in there. Now I want to be able to figure out what's happening within this worksheet. And more importantly, what's happening within the formulas of this worksheet. Take a look. This is tracing. So let's say this 176 right here, 176,211, or even this one right here, they're exactly the same. I want to know which cells make up that number right there. Okay, or let's say this number right here, 36,245. How did we get to that number? What cells is that referencing? Or this number right here, why is that number important? What other cells rely on that cell right there? Again, this is a sheet that I'm not quite as familiar with. So give me a little bit of information here. I want to trace what cells rely on other cells. Let's go back to the total, 176,211. I'm going to go up to my formulas tab. Underneath formulas, back into formula auditing, you got trace precedence and trace dependence. All right, let's see. I've got the 176,000 here. If I go up to trace precedence, what does this one say? Show arrows that indicate which cells affect the value of the currently selected cell. That sounds good. So I've got the 176,000 there selected. I'm going to go trace precedence. So for that cell right there, these cells right here affect that one. This one right here relies on these other cells. It needs these cells in order to get that total. Oh, let's remove that arrow. Let's get rid of it. Remove arrows. Let's try one of these weekly numbers here. I'm going to grab the 6,900 right there, and I'm going to go up above. Let's see, if I hit trace precedence, let's see, remember that one says Show arrows that indicate which cells affect the value of the currently selected cell. Well, if I hit that button, oh, trace precedence command requires that the active cell contain a formula which includes valid references. Okay, well that cell's not a formula, so there's nothing else that feeds information into there, right? Here though, I'm gonna trace the dependence. Which cells depend on that cell? Give that a click. All right, so this cell right here, right, draws an arrow to this total, and it draws an arrow to this total. These two cells rely on that one. They get information from that one. Dependence, tracing a dependent. I can remove the arrows from there. So helping you to make a little more sense out of a document that perhaps you're not as familiar with, or even a document that you created, but it's been a while since you've been in there. Trace the precedence and dependence of the various cells related to your formulas. Let's try one more. I click into a cell, say this 10,200. I'm going to trace the dependence. So now it's this total and this total. Let's grab this one here, and I'm going to trace the precedence. So these cells here feed into this one. It's that simple, but a very effective, very powerful tool, tracing. Let's go ahead and remove those arrows. So another little tip for you. Once again, auditing your worksheets, auditing your formulas. Let's take a look at one more. This is a really neat one. It's a simple little shortcut, but a very effective and very powerful shortcut. And it's dealing with your formulas. So I'm going to go to F9. All right. So this should look familiar. We worked with this one earlier, right? We found that goal, no goal. We used the whole if scenario here. Now, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to build a really quick formula here, and this will bring us into the F9 scenario. So here's the bonus. We want to know whether or not these salespeople, remember these guys, they met the bonus. Now, what's the requirements of a bonus? Well, the bonus, one, they had to have met the goal. Okay? That's step one of receiving the bonus. You had to have met the goal. Step two, each week they had to have made 8,000 or more. Okay? Met the goal, and each week 8,000 or more. So I'm going to go over to my bonus. I'm going to drop in an if. Now, I'm going to do a bit more magic inside of here. And this is something you can go back and rewatch later on, but I'm going to kind of fly through this just to get us to this F9 scenario. And as we get into F9, it'll describe a little bit more about what's happening here. For our if, our logical test, we have multiple conditions. We have the goal, and each week has to be more than 8,000. Now, standard if, you can only put one test in there, just one. But I've got multiple. So here I bring in an AND function. The AND will allow me to test for multiple tests. So my first one, I'm going to say if this cell equals goal. That's my first test. H5 equals the goal. Next, comma, I'm going to use a min function and say if the minimum of this range of cells right here is greater than equal to 8,000. There's my AND. So now I got my two tests in there where I could only do one normally inside of an if. The AND allows me to do multiple. If this is true and if this is true. There's our multiple tests inside an if. Now I need to tell it for the if, I need to tell it what to do if it's true. So I'm just going to say bonus if it's true. Then I need to tell it what to do if it's false. And I'll close that parentheses. There's my if. Now there's a bit more going on in there. But we're going to get the idea of working with this new tool, the F9 shortcut. I'm going to hit my enter key. All right, first person made it. Their goal, they made their goal, and each week was more than 8,000. 8,000 or more. Let's copy that down. All right, bonus, no bonus. They didn't meet the goal, right? Bonus, no bonus. Oh, they met the goal, but they had 2 weeks that were less than 8,000. That's the bonus one. Now, It's a pretty complex formula. Again, I didn't talk a whole lot about it. Just kind of went through the motions there and created that formula. And this is going to happen to you. You're going to inherit formulas from other people, and it's like, well, what's going on in there? What's happening within this formula? Or maybe you get an error inside of a formula, and I want to know why. Well, this feature I want to show you here will allow you to evaluate portions of a formula. Take a look. If I hop up here, I got my formula. I'm currently on cell I5. I get into here, and H5 equals goal. I'm going to highlight that. H5 equals goal. I want to evaluate that portion of the formula. I want to know whether or not that's true. So with that highlighted, on my keyboard, I'm going to press the function key F9. Look at that. It's true. I just evaluated that portion of the formula. Let's try another one. Let's grab this one right here. Minimum B5 to E5 greater than or equal to 8,000. I want to evaluate that. I want to know if that's true. So I'm going to hit F9. And that's true. All right, I'm going to hit my escape key here. This will wipe out the evaluations. Just go back to the normal formula. Let's try one more. I get down, let's say this one right here. What is that? I9. So I'm going to go up and highlight H9 equals goal. Let's evaluate that portion right there. F9. That's true. Now let's evaluate the minimum. Min B9 to E9 greater than or equal to 8,000. I'm going to hit F9 again. And that one's false. So now you get to evaluate portions of a formula. Select a cell that contains a formula, highlight all of it or just a portion of it, and it'll give you the results. Evaluating right there inside your formula. Again, super slick, especially if you're inheriting work from other people and you're not quite sure, you got something a little more advanced, or you got an error and you're trying to figure out why this is happening or how that result came about. Evaluate within your formula. Highlight F9. Now, once you're done, very important, once you're done, hit your escape key. Take it back to the normal formula again. Okay. All right. We've covered a bit, and some of it a little bit quicker than others. We only got so much time inside of these webinars. So make sure you download the file, ask your questions, jump into the question board if you haven't already, bang out some questions there. We love questions. John and I are right here to help you out. Our goal is to help you succeed with your skills, with your knowledge, with your path inside of Microsoft Excel. So once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to come in and meet with you and go over a few functions and a couple little tips in auditing and going through your formulas. So I'm going to hand the time back over to John, and he can talk to you some more inside there and remind you about the questions and downloading the document to practice. So I'll talk with you later.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for that fantastic webinar. Mate, I know that based on the feedback and the questions that I've seen and been replying back to, everyone was happy and just blown off their chairs with the amount of content and what they've learned. So thank you for that great 45 minutes. And if any of you guys have any questions, write them in now in the chat box. Kyle is going to be answering them, so put it in there and Kyle will answer them. There's a lot of people in the webinar. If we can't get to you now, after the webinar's finished, we're going to personally send you an email. So don't be shy. Put in there your questions or comments or anything that you like. Okay, now the bonus that I said before the webinar is here. It is the My Excel Online Academy. We are launching this new Excel course. It is a membership style academy, and it is one that's going to advance your Excel level and career. Now, this is a proven system to increase your Excel skills, and it is the quickest way to get to the next level. So from beginner to intermediate and advanced. Now, in this course here, everyone that signs up goes through a short online Excel skills survey, and based on the feedback, then we evaluate it and put you in either the Excel beginner, intermediate, or advanced course. So that is the best way for you to learn the content and then move on to the next Excel skill level, because there is no point throwing you thousands of video tutorials and saying, okay, start over here. No, this is managed in a way that you start in a course that's based on your skill level, and then you slowly finish that, and then you move on to the next level, and then you learn more, and then you move on to the next level. And each level that you move up, you get a certificate of completion. Now, this Excel course covers everything within Excel. It covers formulas, it covers pivot tables, analysis, charts, Power Query, Power Pivot, macros, and VBA. Now, when you complete one section, we'll give you an assessment quiz, which you can retake as many times as you like until you pass. When you pass that, you'll receive a certificate of completion for that level, and then you move on to the next level. Each month, we're also going to give you brand new Excel video tutorials and resources, so you can keep on learning the new Excel features and new Excel tips. So whatever's in the course today you're going to get, that is your core content. Every month, we're going to be adding new video tutorials, because that is the best way for you to be engaged and to learning more Excel features. And finally, we're here to support you. Carl and I and all the other teachers and support desk are here to support you. So we have given you access to our Excel forum, so you can search for questions and answers there. We have a live quarterly Q&A webinar, and also we have a dedicated email support from the instructors. And also inside the course, you can post your questions, and we're there to answer them. So we are there to support you, so you can gradually learn Excel and increase to the next Excel level. Now, the MyExcel Online Academy. Just a quick recap of what you're going to get. You're going to get a monthly or annual online access. You get new Excel video tutorials delivered in your course player each month. You get 3 in-depth Excel courses covering formulas, pivot tables, analysis, charts, Power Query, Power Pivot, and macros. That is over 350 Excel video tutorials, which you can gain access to today. You also get downloadable Excel workbooks, so you can follow along and practice your skills. You also get a certificate of completion, which you can put onto your CV or resume, as well as your LinkedIn profile. So that's great. So you can put it on your LinkedIn profile, and other people, colleagues, or prospective employers can have a look at your skill set. You also get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can view this course without any risk. And the 6 limited time bonuses for attending the webinar is what you're going to get today. This is valued at over $1,900, and you get it for free when you sign up today. You get access to our recorded Excel webinar training. So the webinar training that you had today, you get access to that, plus all the other Excel webinar trainings that we've had over the years. Now, you're also going to get access to our quarterly live Q&A webinars that Carl and I will host. So it's a place where you can send in your questions beforehand, we answer them, and we give you support to the Excel problems that you have. So you also get dedicated email support. In case you get stuck, just send an email and we respond within 24 hours or less. You also get access to our private members only Facebook group, and that's a great place for you to ask questions and also interact with your fellow students and also share your success stories. You also get access to our MyExcel Online forum, and that's a place where there are questions and answers. So people post their questions and we answer them. So it's a great resource to find answers to your Excel questions. And you can also participate as well and help other students by answering their questions. And you also get an exclusive member welcome pack, which includes an A4 laminated keyboard shortcuts template, which is designed as a keyboard, and it's got all the shortcuts. It's a great template which I created. You get an Academy member mouse pad, you get an Academy member pen, and also some stickers. Okay, so let's go to the course curriculum here. So the Excel beginner course. So there is an introduction here, and this takes you through the workbook interface, the menu ribbon features, entering data into your worksheet, and also saving. So this is someone who hasn't used Excel or uses it a little bit and needs to know how to navigate through Excel and learn the must-know ribbon features. Now, we also talk about the formulas, and we introduce different formulas like cell referencing, the order of operations. We explain the relative and absolute references, and also show you the common formulas that you need to get going fast. In the formatting course there, we show you the most used formatting features like adding and deleting columns, rows, copying and moving worksheets, font formatting, number formatting, and conditional formatting. In the charts area, we introduce you to the images, shapes, smarter, and various charts to spice up your presentation. And printing is important. I know it's Control P, press one button, but there's a lot more that goes behind it. And we show you different ways to lay out your page, the way you can print your documents and create custom templates that you can reuse time and time again. Now, if you're an Excel beginner, you start in this course. When you finish that, you go on to the Excel Intermediate course. Now, the Excel Intermediate course has these 5 different courses in there. First of all is the formulas. And in there, we talk about the different must-know formulas like the if, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, INDEX&MATCH, offset, indirect, sum product, text formulas, the nesting formulas, and also named ranges. In the pivot table course, we show you how to create a pivot table and also the different array of pivot table features that are within pivot tables that you can use to analyze your data, like summarizing values, grouping data, filtering and sorting, slices, which is a great feature from Excel 2010, calculated fields, calculated items, pivot charts, plus conditional formatting. We also have a section on macros and VBA. So this section here talks about an introduction to macros and VBA, using the macro recorder, creating macro buttons, and also editing your macros that will save you hours each week. The data and analysis course is a great one. We show you the analytical tools within Excel like sorting and filtering, Excel tables, data validation, drop-down menus. These are great. Text to columns, flash fill, plus much, much more. And then we go on to the charts, and we'll talk about the different charts that you have in Excel and different uses, like the column chart, the bar, the pie, the bubble, the scatter, and the sparkline. There's just a few of them there, but we go into more details there. And then when you finish that course, you go into the Excel Advanced course. In here, we talk about formulas, but we go into more advanced formulas. So we talk about how you can use VLOOKUP, INDEX&MATCH, offset, sum product, but in a more advanced way in terms of nesting formulas and just different ways that you can analyze your data. Pivot tables, that's a more advanced pivot table course here, and we go through how you can create your KPIs for your business, interactive Excel dashboards. Also, the get pivot table formula is explained, plus much, much more. Macros and VBA. Here we go in depth into the VBA editor, and we show you how you can cut your time in half by the different VBA features. And we go through the worksheet and range objects, the relative references, modules and procedures, variables and data types, conditional statements and loops, message input boxes, plus creative interactive data entry, user forms. We show you how to install and also use Power Query, which is called Get and Transform in Excel 2016 and onwards. Power Query is a great way where you can consolidate your workbooks and worksheets and create management reports. You can also clean up your dirty data and transform your data into easy to read reports. We jump into Power Pivot, which expands on the pivot table knowledge that you learned before. Now, in here, we show you how you can import your different data, how you can create relationships with different data sources, advanced calculations, which are also called measures, and also different DAX formulas. Now, this is pivot tables on steroids. It is a great add-in. And as of now, it is available in all of the Excel versions, and you don't need any special licenses. In data and analysis, we'll go into more predictive data tool analysis like the goal seek, solver, data tables, scenario manager, relationships, and forecasting. These are great, and it's going to save you time, and they're easy to set up, and we show you how you can do that. And then we'll go into more advanced charting knowledge and how to format chart and create different charts. and also the new Excel 2016 charts. So let's go all the way down here and talk about the limited time bonuses. As we said before, these are all here. First, number one, you get our pro level email support there. So we always have your back, so you will never have any issues, and any questions that you have will always get answered. The course bonus number 2 is our access to our recorded webinar trainings on various Excel topics, pivot tables, formulas, and macros. Course bonus number 3 is quarterly live Q&A webinars with Carl and myself to give you our extra support and answer any questions that you may have. Course bonus number 4 is access to our private members only Facebook group, and course bonus number 5 is access to our MyExcelOnline forum, and course bonus number 6 is the exclusive Academy member pack, but this is only for students who sign up for the annual subscription. Now this will physically get mailed to you, and you're going to receive a package in your home, and you're going to love it. This is great. Okay, so the price that here is, we have a special grandfathered pricing. Then you're going to lock that price in forever. So as long as you are a paying member, you're going to have that price. If you decide down the track to cancel your membership and then come back a few months later, then this price goes away and you're going to pay the higher price of $49 a month or $490 a year. So this is a great offer. We made it so more people can access it. Okay, so I'll put up here the resume of what you're going to get today, all the great benefits, all the great bonuses. Now, before I go through one of them again, just put in your questions. Carl is answering them. If you can't get to them right now, then after the webinar, he will get back to you by sending you a personal email, him or myself. So put in your questions there right away now. Now, the webinar replay is also going to be sent out to you as soon as we finish shortly, and that's going to be emailed to you. If you don't receive it, send an email to john@MyExcelOnline.com and I will personally send you the webinar replay. You're also going to receive the Excel workbooks finished that we went through today, so you can practice all the tips that we showed you. And just to let you know that the webinar replay is only available for the next few days. That is going to come down when the MyExcelOnline Academy closes its doors to new student registrations. So you only have a few more days to view the webinar and purchase the MyExcelOnline Academy, and then after that we are going to close the academy because we have to support the new students. We have to send out and create the new videos that we're going to be sending out each month to all the new students and support them in them getting better at Excel. So you only have a few more days to rewatch the webinar and access this awesome course that we have for you today. Okay, so we're getting a few questions here. Before we do that, let's just go through what you're going to get by joining today. Okay, so you're going to get monthly or annual online access depending on which option you choose, and then you can cancel at any time. You also get new Excel video tutorials which will be added each and every month you're a new member. You get 3 in-depth Excel courses, which are the beginners, intermediate, and advanced courses, and each of them cover formulas, macros and VBA, pivot tables, Power Pivot, Power Query, data analysis, and charts. You also get access to over 350 video tutorials. Each workbook is downloadable, so you can view it in start format and finish format, so you can practice. You also get a certificate of completion, so each course that you finish, whether it's a beginner, intermediate, or advanced course, you get a certificate of completion and you can put that on your LinkedIn profile. You also have a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. If you don't think that this course is going to elevate your Excel skills, then just send us an email. We'll refund you the money, no questions asked. You also get these 6 limited time bonuses valued at over $1,900. You get them for free today. So bonus number 1 is dedicated pro level email support Bonus number 2 is access to our Excel webinar trainings. Bonus number 3 is the quarterly live Q&A webinars that we're gonna host for you so we can help you to answer any questions that you may have. Bonus number 4 is access to our members only Facebook group. Bonus number 5 is access to the MyExcelOnline forum. And bonus number 6 is an exclusive members only welcome pack. That's only if you choose the annual membership. So if you choose that, we're gonna send you out a gift box straight to your home address, and you're gonna enjoy that because it is a great welcome pack. Okay, now we've got a few questions that are coming through here. Let me just scroll through a few of them. I see Carl is busy answering a few questions, and there are some questions about the course which I will go through right now. So people are asking, who should take this course? If you're a new user, if you're a newbie, you haven't used Excel before, if you're a beginner, intermediate, or even an advanced Excel user, this course is for you. When you purchase this course, the first thing we do is give you an online test, and based on that test, it gives you a result, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, and advanced Excel user, and then you start on that course. What version of Excel do I need? You can use any Excel version. It's compatible for Excel for Windows 2007, 2010, 2013, 2016, and also Excel for Mac 2011 and 2016. When does a course start and finish? The course starts when you pay your monthly or annual membership fee, and it finishes when you cancel your membership fee. It is a self-paced online course, and you decide when you want to start the course material and finish it. Now you can access the course from your work computer, from home computer, from your tablet, from your smartphone, and any other device with an internet connection. How long do I have access to the course? After enrolling, you have access to the course content as long as you're a paid up member and do not cancel. Can I download the Excel files using the course? Of course you can. Each section has its workbook. You can download it and keep it on your desktop and save it on your desktop forever. Can I watch the videos on my iPad or tablet? Yes, the course can be accessed on any tablet or smartphone, and it also looks very nice there. You can watch the course on your iPad or tablet while following along with Excel files on your computer screen. How do I ask questions and get support? Now, each video has a discussion section, so you can use this section to ask questions and see what questions other students have. You can also find answers to your questions on the MyExcelOnline forum, which all members have access to. You can also send an email to our dedicated email support if you cannot find your answer, and we send a response within 24 hours, if not less. Can my employer pay for enrollment? Of course they can, and they should, because it is your professional development. You're going to help your company become more efficient. So first person you should ask is your boss whether they can pay for it. And we accept credit cards for that. A receipt will also be emailed so you can submit for reimbursement to your employer. Now, most companies are willing to invest in making their employees even more awesome at Excel. So go ask your boss. Can I purchase multiple memberships for all my employees? Of course you can. We have a package. So if you have 3 or more people that want to sign up, we can give you a further discount. So just send an email to support@MyExcelOnline.com, and then we'll give you the link to that. How often will I be billed? Okay, so for the monthly option, when you make your first payment, if you make your first payment today, you will automatically be billed every month. So every 30 days from today. So for example, if you roll on the 15th of the month, you will be billed on the 15th of each month. Now for the annual option, when you make your first payment, you will automatically be billed every 12 months. So if you enroll on the 15th of January 2018, then on the 15th of January 2019, you'll be rebilled again. Now you can cancel your membership at any time throughout your membership. What is our refund policy? Now you can get a full refund of our courses within 30 days of course enrollment. So that is our 30-day money back guarantee. And what payments methods do we accept? We accept all major credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Now the course fees are in US dollars. If you want to pay by bank transfer, you can. send us an email, support@MyExcelOnline.com. If you need a tax invoice, we can certainly send that out to you as well. And we can also complete any paperwork that you or your company or government may require. So to access the course, on the chat box area on the top, you have a link to click, and then that'll go straight to this page here. So you can have a look at all the different benefits and bonuses you're going to get. You can also read the testimonials. You can go to the sample videos. We've got a few sample videos there that are taken from inside the course. You can have a look at that. You can have a look at the curriculum again. So the link is there now. We're also going to email you the link so you can have a look at that as well. And as I said, this course is open just for the next few days only, and then we're going to close it so we can support our students. And that means that the webinar replay is going to close down as well. So you only got a few days to access and watch the webinar replay. Okay, so we're going to be closing this now. Any questions that have been unanswered, we'll personally send you an email. So don't worry. Don't think that you've been left out. There's a lot of people in this webinar, and it's just, we just don't have a lot of time to get and answer each one of them. But that's okay. After the webinar, we'll personally email you a response. So once again, thank you for participating. It's been awesome having you here and teaching you Excel. This is what we are here for, is to make you better at Excel, because it is a tool that not a lot of people know how to use. There are 800 million users and less than 5% know how to use it. And if you know one more feature than your colleague, then you're seen as an Excel expert. And that means that you're going to get more recognition. And if you get more recognition, that leads to promotions, to more jobs, and also a higher salary. And we are here to make you more efficient, more productive, so you can get those promotions that you deserve. So we can't wait to see you inside the course. It is been great teaching you Excel, and I'm going to put on the slide just a few testimonials. And if you have any questions, send them through support@MyExcelOnline.com, and I can't wait to see you inside the course.